What's up, everybody? This is David Osmond. I'm here for Fresh Off the Set. Thank you for listening today. I'm excited to sit down with a great friend, a dear friend of mine. In the arts especially, I look up to her and revere her, and so many people do, for her talent. Her name is Jenny Oakes Baker, and she is America's violinist. She's been playing the violin since she was 4 years old, and I'm excited to kind of dive into her history, her story, any projects she's working on currently, and most importantly, to introduce her to an audience that maybe you haven't heard of her, maybe you haven't seen her, but give you a chance to go check out her skills in the music world, and she makes an impact, which is impressive, certainly, and she does what she loves and loves what she does, and puts her heart and soul into everything. You can see it on stage for sure. So welcome to the podcast booth, Jenny Oakes Baker. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much, David.
We are fresh off the set. She's had a chance to come into the CBS studios so many times to do interviews and then performances, little teasers into your concerts. But you and I have also, away from here, done a lot in the arts, shared a lot of stages, and been friends for a long time. And I appreciate you taking the time to sit down for a little bit and allow me to introduce you to our audience and who you are. So thank you for being here.
Fantastic. Great to be here.
This violin is your axe. That's what you do so well. You've performed since you were 4. Give me a little bit of a history. Where did you start? Were you born in Provo, Utah? Is that right?
Yeah, I was born when my father was president of BYU and was there the first 5 years of my life. I started playing violin when I was 4. It was pretty miraculous, actually. I attended a Mormon Youth Symphony concert, which became later the orchestra at Temple Square. There were some little violinists that were really talented. My mom turned to me as a 4-year-old and said, "Would you like to play violin?" And I said, yes.
Okay.
And then the next week in the paper, there was a newspaper article about this violin teacher who'd studied actually with Dr. Suzuki, who created the Suzuki method. She just happened to be moving to Provo, Utah to start teaching, and my mom saw this article, and so she took me up there, and we started lessons with one of the best violin teachers in the world, probably. And from there, I just have seen the Lord really take my development and help guide me. I've had some of the greatest teachers. I attended the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia for my bachelor's, and then I got my master's from the Juilliard School. And
just Juilliard? Okay.
So Juilliard and Curtis were really wonderful
phenomenal
places
programs
to be able to train. And then I was in the National Symphony, but when I was in the National Symphony, I had gotten married beforehand and to my husband. We met in New York. Then he got a job in D.C. I got into the National Symphony. But as soon as I got pregnant with our 4th child, I started to feel like that wasn't my path anymore. He wanted me to leave the symphony to be home more with my children. And so I resigned from the symphony right before Matthew was born, really just because I felt like the Lord wanted me home with my kids. But I really was leaving the symphony without much of a solo career. I had recorded a couple albums with Deseret Book, but I really hadn't pursued a solo career because I was so busy with our 4 kids and my symphony work. And so I left the symphony just really thinking that I would not really be a performer anymore. And it was a really hard decision, but I felt like that's what God wanted. And so I did it. And then the next day I started getting calls to, come perform as a soloist. So from there, I did have time to help my kids develop their talents. And I also had time to kind of pursue more of a solo career. And I'm so grateful for everything that's happened where I've been able to solo a lot or perform a lot with my children, help them develop their talents, and also start producing Christ-centered shows and take them throughout the world. I've also formed the Soulful Music Foundation to present these shows and make them more affordable for families to attend. So it's been a really meaningful, impactful career, and I'm really, really grateful for where things are.
A labor of love from the beginning. All at the intuition and suggestion from a mom. Your mom seeing this opportunity and then saying, what do you think about this? I mean, had that not happened, what a different path and course maybe your life would even take. And just that little decision and that little spark of an idea.
And then supported by God that has led things along. It's great to have parents and also kind of a spiritual guide.
Like it's meant to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. But the music is in you. I mean, to take that leap, to get to those accolades, and you say it nonchalantly, like, I just went to Juilliard and these programs, got my master's here, and then to play with these symphonies. I mean, it takes a lot of work and dedication. Yeah. So if you don't have that passion, it wouldn't have been there. Was that always there? Did you always know I'm a performer?
I've always loved performing. I've always been a hard worker. My parents taught me to work first, play later. Sometimes work first, play never.
Yeah.
So I've worked really hard, but I really have felt, I always knew that God had a path for me, and I was supposed to work my hardest and, keep the commandments and follow the Spirit, and I would eventually know what the Lord had in store for me. And it's really incredible to look back and just see all the different doors that God has opened and opportunities he's given me, and which really has helped me create a really beautiful life that
That's
I'm
nice.
very, very grateful for.
That's an interesting question I want to bring up. And for our audience that may not know, you mentioned your dad was president of BYU and currently has been in the position of president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Yes.
and revered by millions as prophet, seer, and revelator. Have that as your dad, and then from childhood and have the influence of your parents in your life. What's that like? Because that's a very unique position.
It has been pretty incredible. What's been most incredible is the kind of people my parents are, which has truly impacted my life. The kind of person that does become a prophet, is a true prophet, is an incredible person. They treat everyone with kindness. They are good in every way. They're always trying to be better. They respect others. They live with integrity. And so those are the things that have truly impacted my life. And it's really gratifying to see the way that my father is able to lead the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as its prophet, and all the blessings that he is able to help guide people as he leads the church.
Thanks for sharing that. I get asked, growing up in a musical family and with a dad that also did it as a career in music, was there pressure? What kind of pressures? That's a different kind of thing that's on you as a child and everything else. Yours is a little bit different, having come from, there's musical influence for sure, but that pressure of having, parents in a leadership role like that.
They never
did you
really
feel that? Did you know that? As a kid, was it commonplace?
I never felt pressure from my parents. I felt a responsibility. They identified that I'd been given a gift by God, and so they wanted to support me in pursuing that gift, developing that gift, and pursuing the opportunities I'd been given. And so I didn't feel pressure, just pressure. I just felt a responsibility to develop what I'd been given. I also they built my faith. They helped me build my faith as I developed my gift. I would pray for help from Heavenly Father every time right before I perform, and then I'd see Heavenly Father blessing me in the performance. And so my faith was strengthened as my gifts were developed, and that has really, truly blessed my life in so many ways, and I'm very grateful. But it wasn't a pressure. It was just a responsibility.
That's a cool way to put it, and at such a young age to recognize that. It sounds like your faith has been a foundational element of your entire life and of course, career.
Yeah, absolutely. I really know. I look at some people that don't have faith kind of guiding them, and I honestly don't know how they're so successful. And they must be so much more talented than I am, because I have to rely on God to be successful. And so I think it's amazing that people can kind of do it without relying on God, because I have to rely on God, and I'm so grateful for the help and the direction and the inspiration and empowerment that I receive from my faith.
And you share that back freely from the stage and a connection to the audience. In fact, you've put so many different kinds of shows together, but also, especially for the Easter season and other times of the year, you put your passion into the music and a project called The Redeemer for Easter. Tell me about this, because I know you're going on tours, you've got concerts coming up. What is that project right now you're focused on?
So every Easter we present a show called The Redeemer, Music on the Life of Jesus the Christ, and it's the most powerful production I've ever been a part of. It is so spiritually enriching and soul-filling, and it just changes my life every time I'm able to perform it. And it really, I can see that in the audience members that it's changing their lives as well, which is incredibly gratifying. The music is all by Kurt Bester, and it's so powerful. It just brings me to tears every single time I perform it. I almost feel like the entire hall is about to be translated. It is just so powerful and amazing. And so that's what I work on every spring and present. We always have a show in Salt Lake and St. George, and then Utah, usually in Idaho, and oftentimes in Las Vegas. And we're really trying to take it throughout the entire world. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Congratulations. You put your heart and soul into those projects, and as a family, and then an extended family, Kurt Bester, you mentioned, incredible talent. And I've known Kurt since I was a little kid, and I've worked on so many fun arrangements. And I know you work with other talent that we both have: Dallin Bayless, Lisa Hopkins, Siegmiller, Preston Yates, Nicole Pinello, the cellist, and
my
Sarah
daughter.
Soros. You've got this lineup of really fun people that you're going out with.
They're fabulous.
It's cool. The arts is a team sport, right?
For sure.
You work together, you support each other, and then that connection to the audience. When you're using this material, especially at an Easter time with the images, I had a chance to see your show as well recently, that production. It really is spectacular. Nicely done.
Yeah, it's got choir and orchestras and Bible video footage, fabulous lighting, and it's really, everything really comes together in a really powerful way.
That's cool. So that's a project you're going on. Anything else in your scopes as an artist?
Yeah, so I also have a Americana show called American Mosaic that's really fantastic. The script is by Jason F. Wright, and it's all about the different people that came to America, why they came, including Indigenous Americans being here, of course, why they came, who they were, their cultures and backgrounds, and then this gorgeous mosaic that comes together with every mosaic piece is distinct and different and valuable, but they all come together. And America's not a melting pot, but it's a mosaic where we retain our individuality, of course, but then when we come together in unity, it creates something so beautiful and so enriching and so important, and to just value each other and come together as one. It's a really beautiful show. So we're performing that this year on April 10th at Tuacahn, and then in the summer at National Parks, and next year we'll be performing it as well. So it's a great show.
To do all this, to be right at the front of the stage, to lead this kind of a crew, and then also to lead your family with Matt, your husband, and your 4 children.
Yeah, so
who get on stage with you occasionally.
Yeah, American Mosaic is a family 4 show, and so it's really special to gather together with our talented children and present the show.
And what I'm saying is you're crazy busy. Like it's amazing how you keep that rolling, all those plates spinning. I mean, and have been since you were a kid. I mean, are you living your best life? Do you feel like, I can see the gratitude and the appreciation for what you do, but if you weren't doing music, what would your life be? What would you have, what do you see yourself doing?
Well, I'm an empty nester now, so I can't even imagine how hard that would be if I weren't so busy. It's really rough to, raise these amazing children, and then your whole goal as parents is to prepare your children to, live in the world and be happy and successful and fulfilled, and yet when they do, they leave you. So it's kind of rough, but happily I'm very busy. It twists
the knife, doesn't it? It's like, ouch.
But I mean, I've got great kids, and they connect. I talk to each of them every day, except our son is on a mission. So I talk to him every week, but they're doing good things, and I'm proud of them, and they're doing so well. So it's a great thing, but I am super grateful to have something in my life that is so fulfilling and is making a difference in the world. And
good for you.
And so I'm grateful for that. And recently also formed the Soulful Music Foundation, which the mission is to present these shows that are so impactful to the world and also make them affordable for families. So these are very expensive shows to produce, and yet I was looking at my audiences and seeing mostly adults, and I was like, I want families to be able to afford to bring their entire family. And so
that's cool.
We formed the foundation, and when donors give to the foundation, they're enabling others to experience these shows. So it's a great cause, and we're also trying to build bridges between different communities and enable different organizations, like arts organizations. Our Christmas show involves lots of dance companies, and so we're able to kind of give to them and help them fulfill their missions as we fulfill ours.
And kudos to you for all that, to be the artistic director of the 501c3 charity, making it affordable for families to come and experience this. And as you're standing on that stage, what does that feel like when that spotlight hits you and you hit that music, especially this style, this genre that is so, emotionally driven? What are you feeling in those moments?
Well, I am blessed to be the vessel through which everything, hopefully the audience is feeling, I get to feel it and convey it to the audience. And so often in the sacred music that is trying to bring people closer to God, I get to feel God's love as that vessel through which his love emanates to the audience. And so it's really special to be a vessel and for the Spirit of the Lord. I'm constantly grateful that I get to feel that as I help others feel it.
The other spotlight you have that doesn't usually get as much applause, not enough, that's for sure, is in the role of being a mom. Talked about that a little bit and raising them. Now you're empty nester. For those listening, there's a lot of moms that do listen and live our show. Do you have a life hack? Doing so many things. Any advice that you would give on your role as a mom? Things that you've learned as you're juggling a business and the business of family. And maybe to follow that, any suggestions for moms that have kids, like your mom did for you, to say, look, here's a violin teacher. You want to do that? Anyone that wants their kids want to get into music, what advice would you give?
Well, as women, we go through so many different phases. When you first even, have a child, it's so overwhelming to even take care of one child. And then sometimes you're blessed with more children, and just figuring out how to balance everything and manage everything with these lives that are relying upon you to keep them even alive. It's quite the balancing act, but it really learning how to balance does enable you to take on more things, even when those children leave. And so just learning how to balance, learning how to prioritize, I think is such an important thing and for me, I'd pray every day to know what's most important. And then I try to accomplish that and don't worry about everything else that I feel like I don't have time to accomplish. And so just learning how to prioritize and not sweat the small stuff. When I was raising my kids, my priority was to have them do their practicing and keep them alive. And so like a lot of the other things, my kids never had their hair done cute. Because that just wasn't that top priority for me. And I'd hand them a brush and say, brush your hair as they were drinking their instant breakfast in their sippy cups. And they figured out how to brush their own hair, and they figured out how to pick out their own clothes while I was busy practicing with another child. And so just kind of figuring out what your priorities are and then attack those first, and then just not worry about all the little things that don't really matter was how I kind of got through those years. I also paid a mother's helper, like a 10-year-old girl in the neighborhood, to come do the things that needed to be done, like the dishes or sweeping the floors or whatever. Like those things needed to be done, but I didn't necessarily have to do them personally because I was practicing their kids or I was writing them a story before bed. And so I had, delegate to others to help. Don't be afraid to do that and figure out there's always people that, you can help them as they help you. And so I always, delegated what I could, and then I just didn't worry about the small stuff. And so those are things that helped me when I was younger with, younger children. And I also wasn't a helicopter mother. Because I was so busy, my kids learned how to self-advocate. They learned how to make sure they manage their own schoolwork. They learned how to figure out their own schedules. And it's been a blessing in their lives. So last year we had 2 weddings and 2 of my daughters got married and a son left on a mission. Like my son entirely got himself on his mission pretty much. Like he filled out all of his paperwork. I never even saw the paperwork because my kids and my daughters planned their weddings and I helped where I could and I helped pay for it. I paid for it.
That's amazing.
But they did their own weddings. And it's because
driven like that,
Well, it's because they'd grown up having to do their own things because I was doing, it was our family's top priority. I couldn't do all the things. And so they'd learned how to manage their own lives and it's been a blessing to them.
That's cool. If you could go back looking at what you know now, it's like we all have these conversations as we, of if I knew this when I was younger, I might do this a little different. What's the one thing you wish you could maybe take on it from a different angle or maybe try again? Is there anything any advice you'd give to your younger self?
I probably have been a little focused, a little maybe too focused sometimes, and I probably haven't reached out to as many people and helped them with whatever they needed throughout my life because I've been very focused I'm super focused, and so I'm sure that there have been times when I could have lent a helping hand to others that I haven't. So I'm sure if there have been times when I could have been more helpful to others.
Humble place to say something like that, but thanks for sharing that. I would imagine you're also giving back in
Please
ways.
Don't put it in the comments. All the ways. If everyone's listening, they're like, yeah, actually, I have a story about that.
Hey, yeah, finally she said it. She still owes me $20. No, honestly, but the give back you are able to accomplish, not just through your children and your family with Matt, to have that ripple effect, that butterfly effect for what now they're going to accomplish in the example you've been as the CEO of your family.
And
right?
actually, I'm sure I could be a better wife to my husband, for sure. I should mention that. He sometimes feels like he's the bottom of the priority. So definitely raising him to the top priority. And I have hopefully a lot more time to do that now that we're empty nesters.
No, and I'm a husband as well. We know our place in this world, but that's generous of you. But you're also giving back in ways that maybe, I've seen this when you get a little note after, like, thank you for this experience. Mm-hmm. How much it might impact, and the letters and the comments that maybe you don't receive that have really blessed someone's life through that music. So we're all learning together. We're all experiencing it. Come to the table with different talents and abilities to be able to get through life's challenges together. We're all in the same lifeboat at the end of the day, and we all have our hurdles and challenges. I'm sure you face yours. Yeah. For the project, I've seen that just as the fly on the wall watching you and your family. And so kudos to you. All the success. Wish you well in all these projects. Anything remaining as we wrap up here that you want to share with our audience? Is there anything else?
Just be sure to come and experience the Redeemer. If you're listening opening in 2026. We have shows starting March 14th and through April 7th in Utah, Idaho, Nevada. It's a phenomenal show. Don't miss it. Just keep your eyes out to be able to attend Redeemer, as well as Joy to the World at Christmas time and American Mosaic usually at the summertime.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me for Fresh Off the Set. Jenny Oaks-Baker, America's Violinist. You're awesome. I wish you well. Kudos on all the success and future performances going forward. And
thank you, David.
I look forward to all the stages we're going to share as well going forward.
Me too. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you for listening. Again, if you want to check out any of our Fresh Off the Set podcasts, you can listen anywhere podcasts are listened to. Follow Jenny on all the socials and websites.
And JennyOaksBaker.com for tickets.
That's where you go. Absolutely. Thank you again, and wish you well going forward.
Thank you.
Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.